Everybody, David Atkins, target individual. And I got a lot of good stuff today. I'm going to talk about automated electronic attacks. And the word automated means operated by large automatic equipment, supercomputer. Okay. The C4 ISR system, electronic recruiting, spoof signals, combination of stimuli, patterns, cognitive cognition, individual human nodes, and swarming in themes, and how all this is applied on TIs. But first, I'm going to start with a verse, and it's just going to be a simple verse, as you know. But you, Daniel, roll up and seal the words of the scroll until the time of the end. Many will go to and fro, and knowledge will increase. And that's Daniel 12:4, talking about the end times. Okay, and he told Daniel to seal it up to the end. Okay, so here we go. And like I said, remember, automated means operated by large electronic equipment or computer, anything. So automated. So automated electronic attacks would be electronic attacks automated by a computer. Okay, so here we go. And by the way, we're still getting hit. She's still getting burns. We got pictures of burns. And she's got pictures of burns. I got a few pictures of burns, but they most part they burn me internally and torture me inside. Shocks. Bang. And I'm going to tell y'all how this shock stuff happens in this thing because I learned it. And I can just tell you how. So the supercomputer is constantly reading your state of, and so if you've got, they've got equipment where if a pilot, some pilots have volunteered for this, and I think all pilots have probably are using this equipment now. They're just not telling nobody because it's so advanced and they don't want to. So if you can keep a pilot from falling asleep on a plane, then you can keep a TI tortured every time he tries to fall asleep. Okay. So human computer intelligence. Okay, automated human computer intelligent network. So anyway, here's the description. As part of its surveillance and electronic warfare capabilities, the DoD has a C4 ISR system that contains mind-reading computer with artificial intelligence, which is able to remotely infer the mental and emotional states of its targets. It's also the cognitive center of a human computer intelligent network, which establishes wireless links to human brains and transmits attacks instructions to people during computer-generated swarms. Furthermore, it's connected to a directed energy weapon platform and a multitude of electronics, which serves as outputs for stimuli intended to influence the target. The basic system consists of surveillance, intelligence obtained by sensors, processing, computation done using AI, and output, stimuli sent to the individual in their environment. Real-time intelligence is obtained through a sensor network connected to a computer with artificial intelligence. The computer compares the information to a set of instructions which contains rules on how to interpret the new information in relation to the system's individual profile, which is also stored in the system and is constantly updated. The computer generates a response and selects an output channel to transmit the stimuli. It is able to transmit the response/stimuli. It's able to determine the best output channel through constant surveillance of the TI. For instance, it understands whether the person's interacted with one of its nodes, such as another person working on a computer, listening to a broadcast, etc. Once the computer has determined the most efficient method to communicate with the TI, it transmits the response through a human channel into the environment. As complicated as it sounds, in theory, it's a simple observation, processing, and feedback loop. The output, which is sent through a variety of channels. This system appears to be connected to the global information grid, or GIG, the synchronization of stimuli based on real-time information obtained from persistent surveillance can be explained by a basic closed-loop augmented cognition system, which has been developed by the DoD Scientific Research Agency. Augmented cognition is a result of several revolutions in science and technology that began at the end of the 20th century. They include the cognitive revolution, biomedical revolution, and computer revolution. All these coincided with a multi-billion dollar investment by the U.S. government in the 1990s to better understand the human brain, known as the decade of the brain. Okay, and then I'm going to switch to automated electronic attacks. Excuse me for that. Okay. So I got to scroll down here. Okay. The idea of linking direct energy system to a computer is not new. The basis for the system goes back to the April of 1976. Um, when a device which monitored and altered brainwave activity was mentioned in U.S. Patent 3951134. Again, a device which monitored altered brainwave activity was mentioned in U.S. Patent 3951134. Apparatus and method for remotely monitoring and altering brainwaves. Although it was obtrusive, it was able to remotely read a person's emotional response and state and thought patterns, display the information on a computer for analysis, and then instantly send a particular frequency back to the brain to affect a change in electrical activity. In February of 1995, a similar system, which was described in U.S. Patent 5392788, which decoded brain signals using a computer that synchronized them with stimuli sent back to the person. Stimuli's responses, same thing. So, a patent 5392788 described as decoded brain signals using a computer that synchronized them with responses sent back to that person. The device was able to read brain activity, mind read, compared to the activity to the set of information, then send back a signal to the brain to induce the desired perception or emotion. Further evidence for the existence of this system was revealed in April 1996 in U.S. Patent 5507291, method and associated apparatus for remotely determining information as to a person's emotional state. Okay, patent 5507291, method and associated apparatus for remotely determining information as to a person's emotional state. What has obviously happened is this OGCOG or similar mechanisms, part of the intelligence cycle of C4 ISR system connected to direct energy weapons platform. Rather than being used to enhance a person's performance, its mitigation strategies include punishment in form of painful response. This explains how electronic attacks can be synchronized with the TI's activities and thought patterns, and how I'm shocked in my head when I go to sleep or close my eyes and my whole body starts vibrating. And particularly, it helps us to understand how the DoD's arranged for microwave hearing attacks to continually comment on the thoughts and activities of its targets. Although official documentation suggests that non-invasive sensors must be placed near the scalp to obtain these readings, OGCOG sensors technology is more advanced than what has been publicly announced, which means they don't need sensors near the brain. The DARPA scientists who built ALCOG surely must have been aware of how easily it could be used for these purposes. Quite possible this was the real reason ALCOG was created. As far as surveillance systems being linked to direct energy weapons, this has already occurred. The GIG, for instance, is such a system, among other things. In 2003, the NRC announced that surveillance systems connected to direct energy attacks would identify, track, and attack the targets, then provide real-time assessments of the attacks to achieve what they described as a closed loop tailoring of the desired effect. Wired reported in December of 2007 that Raytheon was developing an automated area protection system which used ADT to provide industrial security or home protection. It would use sensors to track intruders and attack them with energy projectiles hidden behind walls and on ceilings. Metz and Clevitt mentioned that part of this RMA includes the development of automated remote surveillance system that synchronizes attacks of precision and standoff weapons. What is emerging, cautioned Omega Research Foundation 1998, is a chilling picture of ongoing innovation in the science and technology of social and political control, including semi-intelligent zone denial systems using neural networks which can identify and potentially punish unsanctioned behavior. In 1977, the BSSR predicted that such a system would be used by the repressive regimes to conceal their attacks against dissidents. Although the BSSR's description of it included implanted electrodes, the basic mechanism was the same. Brain signals would be transmitted to a computer, which would be programmed to respond to a particular electrical patterns. So electrical patterns could be anything. Your electrical patterns probably slow down when you sleep, and when that supercomputer senses it, it sends that reaction. The combinations of stimuli or combinations of response. The direct energy weapons platform system is only one response output for this system. Thought patterns and behavior are also synchronized with environmental response such as computer network operations, human nodes interacting with the TI, the dimming of lights in the TI's living area, and spoofed TV radio signals. For instance, shocks are sent to the TI, sonic projectiles hit walls and ceilings, microwave hearing attacks occur all within a few seconds. While the attacks occur, CNO or computer network operations facilitates an attack on the operating system, creates spoof sites to comment on the attacks in real time if the TI is online, or as a variation to follow up of the direct energy attacks. A spoof broadcast will comment on the attacks just after they occur, which is synchronized with the lights being dimmed. Or Robert Duncan said, if you're ever driving and you experience your radio station changing, it's because you're being attacked. You're getting hit with direct energy weapons. Of course, there are some people who are not TIs, I'm sure, that experience shorts in the radio, but shorts really don't change the radio station. Okay, individual human nodes. The C4 ISR system instructs individual human nodes interacting with the TI in real time. The activities that the nodes are directed to carry out continually change in response to the TI behavior, which is immediately recognized by the system during persistent surveillance. Using the same closed loop OGCOG observation processing and feedback cycle, the system transmits instructions to a node interacting with the TI rather than the TI. The node's told to make a comment or perform an act which is tailored to be immediately understood by the TI. This means that basically each comment made by an individual connected to the system can be concealed attack by the DoD and its targets. The entire process occurs ultra fast. I've noticed it is so quick that it can occur within the natural pauses that exist during a normal conversation. It happens during the entire conversation. Swarms and themes. The precision of synchronization that characterizes these swarms, which I have repeatedly witnessed, causes me to conclude they are definitely computer generated. The system is guiding with these nodes with individualized instructions while simultaneously monitoring the TI's reactions and instantaneously updating the nodes with attack instructions based on new information. So when they get a reaction, boom, it goes into the computer system and it's being monitored. They want as many reactions as you can to upload your stuff on that way they can loop it, loop it, loop it. While driving on foot, a TI's reaction to a product is instantly interpreted by the system, which fuses the intelligence with profile-specific information that contains, among other things, any recent themes to be emphasized. The C4 ISR system understands that the location of the TI, where the nodes are, understands the location of TI, where the nodes are, what product each node has, how every node will distribute its product, and the location of other products in the battle space. It's capable of determining which node contains the next best product and most accurately reflects the TI's reaction and contributes to the theme based on the new circumstance. The order which the products are distributed and speed at which they are usually used to contribute to new circumstances that involve suggests that the system is not only aware of the location of all nodes, but the characteristic of each one. It understands what product each node is capable of distributing. For a person, this includes age, gender, race, other mental and physical characteristics, which themselves can be used as product. It also includes the type of code and any object these individuals might be carrying, which are used as products to convey messages. For vehicles, it includes characteristics such as type, color, the existence of any bumper stickers, license plates, lettering, or other visible products inside or outside the vehicle that are used to promote the theme. It's also aware of what order each product needs needs to be distributed, shown to the TI. Because in order for some themes to be successful, products must be distributed in a particular sequence. So while the system is performing ongoing surveillance on the TI, it's instantly able to process the intelligence and use its instruct nodes during swarms. Because OGCOG is part of the intelligence cycle, this means the TI's thoughts and emotions can be induced in the attack instructions that node frequently receive. Furthermore, because the system knows the location of every node at every moment, as well as the location of the TI, any new intelligence, including information regarding thoughts and emotions, can be sent to specific nodes in the area of the TI, which can be instructed to perform at a SIAC. Node notification identification. If this system guiding human nodes during swarms, then each node must be distinguishable to it. So there are some important questions regarding to what unobtrusive technology the DoD is using to tag each one. Although the DoD expressed an interest in using revolutionary technology to communicate with people using the microwave hearing effect, as described in the footnotes of the New War chapter in Volume 2, still the actual technology being used to distinguish each person as an individual node is not revealed. So what he's suggesting is a lot of these perps are being mind controlled to do it. Nodes are perps, basically, people, humans, um, and it's basically saying uh, any new intelligence information regarding thoughts can be sent to specific perps nodes in the area of the TI, which can be instructed to perform a SIAC. Nodes is human nodes, the nodes inside of humans. So different humans, different nodes. You send an instruction to one human, and he may not even realize he's being told to do it. He just gets that thought when he sees you, hey, I need to do this. Don't realize he's thinking it. Don't realize the thought's been planted in him. For vehicles, ships, and planes, cognitive radio can accomplish this. However, for people, this is more complex. Although an operator can probably manually aim a device equipped with tracking sensors to direct a microwave beam in a person's head to instruct them for a large number of nodes, this would be inefficient. Most likely, the C4 ISR system itself is guiding these people. In order to direct these automatic transmissions on the system, sensors must be able to lock onto the human brain with some kind of tag. And in order to properly generate swarms, the computer must be able to distinguish each node to properly guide it. It must understand where each node is, where the target is in the geography of the land. So each person must have a feature which distinguishes them from all other nodes that the system can identify and incorporate into its swarm algorithm. Although there's probably a variety of possibilities, here are a couple. One possibility is that the swarmers carry some type of device which gives them a unique identity and allows the system to track and direct them. The device itself may be so tiny to be concealed, or may resemble an everyday electronic object, maybe even a phone. In the Weather Warfare chapter of Volume 3, we discovered that the early 1900s Nikola Tesla said it was possible for a watch-sized device to instantaneously clearly transmit sound to any place on the planet. According to the Department of Defense's June 2007 report, Global Information Grid Architectural Vision communications technology used in the gig will include a tiny hands-free computer that is embedded in clothing, which is presumably undetectable to the casual observer. Not much information is given regarding how a person receives the information from the device. However, description infers that it requires no interaction. How the device transmits signals it receives into a person's auditory pathway is unknown. Metz and Kivett mentioned that a small device known as an individual position locator, an IPLD, could eventually be placed under the skin of some citizens to covertly communicate with them during the evacuation processes. There are several possibilities regarding how these similar concealed devices transmit instructions to the node. One is that the device somehow wirelessly redirects the transmission to the person's cranium, where the microwave hearing effect can be produced, or each person uses the device for a type of natural login procedure where they establish a connection by the gig, um, global information grid, placing it near their cranium so that the laser sensors from satellites can quickly and non-invasively link to their brain. Then the device is placed in clothing or not needed. All at once, a connection is established. They are extracted wirelessly at the entire time they're activated. This device could also act as both a receiver and speaker, which emit an audible sound. This would mean it's hidden or placed near the ears or hidden in clothing. However, with this method, unless the device is placed directly in the ear, it is possible that the instructions can be heard by others. Also, if it were placed in the ear, then it would be visible, even if it were small, unless it was very tiny. Because of the visual and audible concealment problems associated with this last method, it is unlikely. I have noticed no such communication devices in the ears of these swarmers, and never have I overheard instructions emanating from a device in their clothing. The second possibility is that technology exists which allows the DoD to detect a feature in a person's brain which distinguishes it from all brain. This could be described as the brain print, neural signature, where each person's brain is somehow probably remotely calibrated to the system. Once calibration takes place, the node is distinguishable from all other human nodes. It can be identified, located, and alerted and guided in real time by the system. That's how I can be in a homeless shelter and be going in my sleep state and start getting shocked, and nobody else does, because everybody's brain print is different. Your brain print is a neural signature. It has electricity. It's a receiver. Like if you dial a cell phone, and that cell phone is going to ring. Why? Because it's a receiver. Same thing. Your brain will pick up a frequency. your unique frequency. They dial up your unique frequency, just like a cell phone, and bam, attack you. Okay, the DoD mentioned using supercomputer and describes a highly advanced system consisting of sensory channels, cognitive capabilities that are fused with communication systems which allow people to interact with the gig in a natural way. Little details are given pertaining to how HCI connection works. Judging from the description, however, it's probably a covert method for them to send instructions to human nodes connected to the gig after a simple login procedure. As far as node alert, one possibility is the system sends out a signal to a general area to locate one particular node. Once it's located, a type of natural login occurs where it becomes activated. The human node may or may not have a choice in this process, or they receive an alert by cell phone other than electronic means or other electronic means, letting them know that they need to connect to a particular time. After they have alerted, they establish a quick connection to the global information grid. In addition, some people are probably connected on a connection schedule where they understand what days and times will be alerted as part of the global civil defense network. Then, for a period of time, they are instructed by the system to perform their activities. Regardless of how they have accomplished it, they are using a covert communication system which can distinguish each human node and send it personalized instructions, allowing for swarms that are perfectly synchronized. Electronic recruitment. Although official documentation states that a major portion of the civilian population will be recruited as surrogate forces, this does not necessarily mean their collaboration is voluntary. The nonverbal communication exhibited by some of these people leads me to conclude that a portion of them are definitely stalking and harassing people against their will. Secrecy is of utmost importance when using informants. These unofficial collaborators are never allowed to reveal their connection to the state. What better way to achieve this than have no visible contact with them? It's likely that some people are being selected, terrorized, trained, and guided entirely by electronic methods. They are somehow identified by one of the mechanisms built in our society, whether in the workplace, schools, or other environments, and are placed under surveillance connected to the system. The one who recognizes what's happening and tries to resist soon realizes that the societal institutions which exist to protect them from such things will offer no help. Furthermore, social norms and fears of being labeled mentally ill, which are a result of propaganda generated by the financial elites institutions, prevent them from coming forward. Some end up committing suicide. Others are antagonized to the point where they become infuriated and act violently, which lands them in prison or a mental hospital. Some are given a choice to submit, after which they are directed to persecute others and that are being attacked. Spoof signals. I frequently notice that TV and radio programs, as well as pre-recorded talk shows on portal MP3 players, comment on my ongoing activities in real time and reference recent themes, which continues throughout entire broadcasts, including commercial advertisement. For instance, if I move left, the word left is mentioned. If I open up a cabinet, the word open is in sent. And this is not my experience right here. This is somebody else's. I do know some people. I know a lot of people who get this, though. All right. Turning on the light switches may result in words such as on, light, bright, dark. If I accidentally bump a limb against the object, then the words such as hospital, injury are sent. These comments are consistently synchronized with any basic limb movements as well as the mere decision to make a movement. Also, if I'm looking at an object, then it's a variation of reference. This appears to be another odd-cog stimuli output. These are pacing techniques used in hypnosis. It seems to be way advanced in communicating with the enemy by pacing them through cycles of observation, as explained by the RAND Corporation in the Psychological Operations chapter, volume 3. And I'm going to find out what book this is and get back with y'all and put it in the description. Exactly how they're merging these key phrases into programs that supposedly originate from mass media outlets which reach thousands of people is open to interpretation. But here's some possibilities. One of these phrases are actually woven into otherwise authentic program by the actual host and guests and advertisers who are connected to the intelligence cycle and periodically receive instructions from the DoD. Aside from the sophisticated surveillance technology used to transmit perfectly synchronize the phrases, the TA's activities, the military uses this method according to its documentation. If a multitude of TAs exist in the area, communicating with each by embedding phrases into a broadcast while synchronizing them would synchronizing them perfectly with the TA's movements. I think TA. Let's see. Anyway, I hope y'all figure out. I think it's targeted area or target individual. TA. Well, I don't know what he means by this, but I've lost it. I'm trying to read and get it over with because I'm starting to burn. However, using these announcers to speak certain phrases that are designed to be recognized by TA would be simple enough. These TA and radio programs may be custom spoofed for each TA using a type of these TV and radio programs may be also be custom spoofed for each TA using a type of advanced digital morphing technology that links to the C4 ISR system. With this method, there's also a couple of possibilities. One's that the program's partially spoofed with fragments of it, seamlessly morphed in real time with key phrases pertaining to the TA's activities, resulting from ongoing surveillance. For both live and pre-recorded broadcasts, this method may result in a slight delay as the broadcast file is routed through the system, fused with sensor results, morphed, and then outputted as spoof signal to wherever the electronic device is being used. Another possibility is that the entire TV or radio program is spoofed in real time with morphing technology, which creates an entirely fake audio or audio-visual news broadcast. You hear that noise campaign. In addition to delivering real news, comments on the TA's activities as a result of persistent surveillance. Obviously, any kind of spoofing method of this kind, which is connected to intelligence cycles and transmits messages into people's home, requires a highly sophisticated production facility, such as a one used by the 4th POG. Although not much detailed information has been given on the military's use of digital morphing, as we discovered, it has been announced that it will be used for PSYOP. In their 1994 U.S. Army War College article, Metz and Kent provided a hypothetical scenario where an electronic barrier was placed around the entire country by secretly redirecting all its communications through a national security filter at Fort Meade. In this scenario, they revealed how morphing technology could be used to produce computer-generated spoof broadcasts to deceive insurgents. Because the target is electronically isolated under constant surveillance, every single channel of communication they rely on for accurate information is interfered with. Their efforts to confirm that these signals are spoofed by checking a source may be futile. Furthermore, because PSYOPs units establish contacts with local media outlets and AO, if a TI attempted to verify the contents of a broadcast, for instance, by visiting the facility, the media outlet itself would provide cover for the operation. However, determining exactly how the DoD is accomplishing this is most irrelevant. Once again, it's been declared PSYOP is being used on citizens. Those under surveillance will be made aware they are being watched. I refer to these programs as PSYOP radio and PSYOP TV. The internet spoofing I've noticed appears to use the same observation feedback mechanism. While technically there must be more to it than this, basically the system generates keywords pertaining to an event and sends them to a spoofing program, which inserts them to into pages requested by the TI. Seconds after the event occurs. So the TA is the TI. Okay, and I will get the name of this book. Simplified, this system is an automatic wireless surveillance feedback loop consisting of networks of sensors, nodes, direct energy weapons, which is controlled by artificial intelligence. It's an automated, covert, effective way of handling informants, guiding swarms, and attacking targets. In the past, when the regimes used informants to enforce their rule, technological limitations allowed targeted people more operations when dealing with attacks. It also gave them more time to recover in between attacks. For instance, there were delays between the instance a situation changed, decision making, and the transmission of new instructions to the informant. Depending on the technology available during that time period, these delays may have been days, minutes, or seconds. This is no longer the case. The entire process from surveillance to decision making to transmission is automated. Informants are now connected to the system, guided the entire time that they're in the presence of the TI. The attacks are not limited by the mental capacity of the informant. Furthermore, the connection mechanism is robust. It works indoors and outdoors. There appears to be a little disconnect. So if y'all want to know how the whole airport stalking you, the whole store stalking you, I just explained it. If you want to know how every time you go in some kind of state with your mind, a certain stimuli or response happens that tortures you, I just told you why. This is a good explanation of why, because this explained it to me of why. So this is supercomputer explanation to a T, in my opinion, and I will find this book for y'all and tell y'all what the name of it is. Somebody shared this with me. Okay, just as any progressing technology continue to apply to existing systems, so recent advancements in human-computer interface revolutionize the practice of handling informant networks. The DoD has technology to hijack the conversation. The destructive potential for such technology is limited. limitless. It can be used to misguide and attack individuals or groups in a traceless manner which seem completely natural. Functioning as a weapon, this automated system closes an electronic feedback loop around a target individual, attacking them relentlessly day and night with painful stimuli based on their ongoing activities, transmitted through a variety of channels. So the book, Augmented Cognition, uh, is in the end notes. So I'm sure that's probably what this book is. Anyway, that was some good information and explained a lot for me. I hope it helps some people realize what's going on with them and how advanced the supercomputer works. I know I've described the same stuff in different ways before, but this C4 ISR description sounds about right with what's going on to me. Only you can determine what's going on with you and what's happening with you, but I'm sure EverTI is linked to this C4 ISR system somehow. Anyway, God bless y'all. Y'all have a good day. Or try to, because, we're targets and you never know what's going to happen. Anyway, God bless. I'm rambling.